In today's video, I'm gonna teach you how to use the repeater, a powerful tool that duplicates shapes and creates patterns and animation in just seconds. You can find the project file of this animation in the description. Creating a new tutorial for each day of the year, day 8 of 365. First, we have to add a shape layer, so right click in the timeline, go to new, and select shape layer. And now we have to add a content to the shape layer. So we will start by adding a rectangle. We have the rectangle here, but there's nothing there. So we have to add color. So go to add and select fill. I'm going to change it to white. Okay, now it's time to add the repeater. So go to add and select repeater. Okay, you see here we have the repeater and we have a copies of the same shape. To make this repeater in a radial way, like in a circle, we have to change the position of the repeater to 0. Let's go to the rectangle path here and let's move the position. Okay, let's offset a little bit. And here you see if we increase the rotation, the copies are going in a circular way. So the more copies we add, like 6, you can see that they feel in a radial way. So to make this to be a perfect circle all the time, we have to go here in rotation and type 360 because that's are the degrees in a circle, and let's divide that by the numbers of copies. So we have 6 copies and let's divide that by 6. We have a perfect circle. And a way to automate that process is by going in the stopwatch of rotation, alt click and type 360 divided by, select the pick whip and select copies. So if we increase or decrease the copies, they are always in this radial way. Now let's animate. I'm going to use 6 copies. Here we have the position property in our rectangle path, so we are going to animate that. So make a keyframe, set it to 0 first, move it forward and increase any of these properties. So this, it will be in this way, and if you increase the other property, it will be in the other way. So I'm going to increase this like here, and we have our animation here. Let's add some fade out to this animation. So we are going to make the fade with the opacity. So press T. Here we have the layer opacity. Make a keyframe, press U to see the other position keyframe. Move forward, decrease the opacity to 0. There you go. And now you can see it disappears. So let's ease these 2 keyframes at the end. Go to the graph editor and move the handle back. Let's preview. This is a really easy animation we can do with this modifier tool. We have our shape here, our rectangle, that if we want to make every little rectangle here rotate in itself, we can't do that because if we go to transform here and try to rotate, it will rotate the whole layer. And here in the rectangle path, we don't have rotation property. To be able to do that, we have to add a group. So go here in content and add group and move the rectangle inside that group. And here, as you can see, the group comes with a transform property. This transform property have scale, rotation and all of that thing. But if we rotate now, you can see it's the same thing. So that's because we are using the position of our rectangle path. Let's bring back the position to 0 and let's delete these keyframes. We are going to use the group position, the transform position. So open transform here and make a keyframe to position, move forward here at the end and increase the position. Something like that. Okay, now you can see it's the same animation. I'm I'm going to disable these opacity keyframes. Okay, and you can see it's the same animation. I'm going to easy ease this. There you go. And now if we change the rotation on our group transform property, every single cube rotates in itself. So let's animate the rotation with this in the beginning, and here 2 full rotations. Let's preview. Okay, there you go. I think 2 is a lot, so I'm going to decrease to 1. Let me see. Okay, that's better. Now instead of making it to fade out with the opacity, we are going to fade the shape with the scale. So make a keyframe for scale here at the beginning, move forward and bring it to 0. Let's preview. Okay, that's really cool. We can easy ease the keyframe if you want, but we can also leave it in a linear keyframe. This is how you prefer. I'm going to leave it like that. I'm gonna show you a few other things you can do with the repeater. First, let's rename this layer to squares, and let's trim the duration with the same as the keyframes. And now let's make some line burst. Let's duplicate this layer, going to move it forward, go to the beginning, delete all the keyframes, and we are going to start by going here in contents. First, let's animate the position of the transform group. So make a keyframe for position, move forward. Let's make the position to be like here. And now go to rectangle path and unlink the size. So uncheck this box, and we are going to make the rectangle thinner. So something like that. There you go. Make a keyframe here in the end for size. Go to the beginning and change size to 0 in both sides. There you go. Okay, so now go to the transform group and make a keyframe for scale here at the beginning, and in the end change the scale to 0. So this will be the fade out. Let's preview. The lines are like too small, so let's increase here the size in the rectangle path. 130. Let's try that. There you go, that's better. And let's increase the numbers of copies. So go to repeater and make, I don't know, 8 actually. That's good. And now let's easy ease the keyframes. So press U to see all the keyframes. Let's easy ease these last keyframes with F9. Go to the graph editor, move the handle like that. Let's see. Okay, now let's easy ease these keyframes too. And let's see how it looks. Okay, it looks nice, but it's still too thin. So I'm going to increase the size, 400 here and 60 here. There you go. So here you have some lines animation with the repeater. Finally, I'm gonna show you how to make a start animation with the repeater. Okay, now let's rename the layer of this line animations. Let's call it lines. And now let's make a different animation, but now with stars. So let's duplicate this layer, move it forward here, and we don't need this keyframe for now, so go here in the beginning and delete all of them. And let's change the content. For this shape layer we have a rectangle. Let's select that rectangle and hit delete. And now let's add a polystar. Move it inside the group, go to the transform property, and let's animate the position. First of all, the position, it will come from here to here. Let's decrease the scale a little bit, 100, and move this a little bit here. Now we are going to use a property we didn't use before. So go to the repeater, go to transform, And let's use the scale. So make a keyframe for the scale here at the end of the animation. Go to the beginning and let's make the scale to be 0. And now you see that the stars come from far away. So you can change this property to see how it works. Now let's animate this scale. So go here in the transform group, scale, it will come from 0, go forward and set to 100. And that's looking better. I'm going to give more room to the layer here in the duration. And now let's easy the keyframes. So let's easy all of these keyframes. Go to the graph editor and move the handle here. Okay, let's preview. There you go. At this point we're going to make the stars to go outside of the screen. Move a little forward and change the position here until they are all gone. And let's add a rotation. So make a keyframe for rotation and here in the end make another keyframe. So the rotation will be one full rotation. Let's see how it works with that. It's pretty fine. Okay, so easy is this last rotation keyframe. Let's preview. I'm going to trim the duration because it's done. And let's rename this to stars. We can also improve this animation by adding a echo effect. Let's add a echo. Decrease the echo time. I'm going to use -0.001 and increase the numbers of echoes. I'm going to use 50. Change echo operator to maximum. Let's preview. There you go. It looks pretty sick. Now I'm going to trim this. So now it's time for you to explore what you can do with all of these properties. So for example, we can change a little bit this. Let's duplicate this layer. Press U to see the keyframes. And first I'm going to make it here at the end to be bigger. Like this. And I'm going to animate the opacity. So press T to open the opacity. And make a keyframe. And change the opacity at the beginning to 75 and in the end to 0. There you go. So it looks like this. And let's see how it looks if I change the rotation instead of one rotation to this side to the other side. So -1 and let's preview. There you go. Okay, so that's a detail you can add. Let's try with the lines. Let's duplicate the lines layer. Let's try tweaking the rotation. So go group, transform group, and change the rotation. Okay, you can see here to be, I don't know, 90. Let's preview. Oh, it looks fine. I like it. And we can also combine other shapes. So let's duplicate one more time and make, instead of a line here, let's make a square. So change this to be the same in both sides, 400 and 400. Link these properties. And oh, there. That's so big. I'm going to decrease the size here. That looks good. Okay, I'm going to make 0 here at the beginning, here at the end to be, I don't know, 300. There you go. So you can also add some motion blur to these animations. So I'm going to add a motion blur to the lines here. And let's preview. Let's try the motion blur here with the stars. Oh fuck, they took so much time to render. Forget about it. Let's try the motion blur here with the squares. That's pretty fine. Okay, I'm going to change a little bit the animation here of the transparent squares. So in the scale goes from this scale to nothing, to 0 here at the end. Let's preview. Oh, that's better. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to adjust a little bit the composition here. There we go. So this is all for today's tutorial. I hope you learned something new in this video. Don't forget that you can download this project file in the description. See you in the next tutorial.